Welcome back, everybody, to the Nosebleed Sports Podcast. I'm Chris Witt. With me, as always, Mr. Adam Schmidt. Adam, how are you today, sir?
Sensational. How are you?
Sensational. If I was any better, I would be sensational. So we got a lot going on. Let's be honest. The biggest thing going on, Achilles / calf.
Achilles.
We'll get into the Achilles. We'll get into the calf. We also want to get into a little baseball. We got some big poppy talk. We got we also have, we're an all around kind of sports podcast. So
yeah,
we'll get into a little bit of the Stanley Cup.
Yes, we will. And women's soccer.
And women's soccer. That's the big one I really want to talk about. Women's soccer, because let's be honest, the men's soccer is terrible, and women's soccer is what it is. It's way better than women's soccer. So
than men's soccer, yeah.
Men's soccer, whatever, same difference.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get started today. What do you say? So first off, let's get started with the fact that we are on every Wednesday. Tonight, closer to the 11 o'clock hour, usually around 10:30, but Adam came in to the house. So the Rum Dum Sports Podcast studio is in my basement of my house, and Adam came in during a little bit of what would you call that?
Just a passionate
discussion between a husband and wife.
Yes, but it wasn't an argument.
No, not an argument at all.
It kind of sounds like an argument. It was not that at all.
It was not an argument.
It was truly passionate, a passionate discussion about sports.
It really was.
What you guys were talking about.
It was a passionate discussion about sports. Me and my wife. It was fun. It was. It is what it is. Anyway, we're on a half hour late because usually we come on at 10:30. We're here now. We also are on every Thursday morning. If you don't catch us on the Facebook Live, you can catch us on YouTube. You can catch us on SoundCloud. You can catch us on Apple Podcast Radio and iHeartRadio. iHeartRadio is probably the biggest thing going right now, right?
Yes, I would say. I mean, I use Apple Podcasts to listen to it myself, but a lot of people use SoundCloud. A lot of people use iHeartRadio. Whatever your
podcast desire is, we're there. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. And let's get into it, dude. Let's start with the finals, because the finals that we thought was all but over. It was 3-1. We were in Toronto.
Yes, for Game 5.
For Game 5, Toronto up 3-1. KD decides to play. He goes 3 for 3 from the three-point land. He's got 11 points. And calf turns into an ankle. And here's where we're going to start the podcast.
So let's start, though, with the game itself.
Yeah, let's do that.
As a matter of fact, before we do that, let's talk really quickly, make the announcement we want to make about our next Nosebleed Sports Podcast tournament poll.
So we've done really good with our polls, and I apologize for not throwing this out there right off the bat, because we've had ugliest Major League Baseball player.
Sorry.
We have had worst hair. Was it worst hair? What was the exact?
Was it worse?
Craziest?
Was it craziest?
Craziest hair in the NBA. NBA craziest hair of all time. And is that all we've had? What was the last one?
No, we did greatest. What was the one? We did a basketball one.
Yeah, the hair. That was the last one. Right?
No, because we had Karl Malone and Larry Bird. And,
best nickname
best
of all.
Best nickname.
Yes.
Thank you.
Best NBA nickname.
That was the last one.
We are in for what is going to be what I think is the best Nosebleed Sports Podcast poll yet.
This is fun. This is a fun one.
We are going for all-time best sports posters.
There are so many.
we have gone over, and we've got over 70 posters that we have thrown back and forth at each other over the last couple of days. So instead of just dwindling it down to 6 and us voting on 6, what we are going to do is Adam is going to put up two different posters against each other for the next 16 days. That's 32 posters for the next 16 days, correct?
Correct. Every day.
Every single day. Your job out there, Nosebleed Sports Podcast listeners, is to vote on what is the best poster. And from there, we will come down to 16, and each 16 will be 1 week of voting.
Correct. So then we will seed once you guys, people who listen, get on the Nosebleed Sports Podcast Facebook page. It will be there. That is where it will be posted, the poll. Get on there. You guys will be deciding who the top 16 that will actually start the weekly poll tournament, we'll say.
I like it. The weekly poll tournament. This is fun. I love our podcast polls.
Yeah,
I really do. I love them. I think it gets people involved, and to be honest, this might be my favorite yet.
We'll see how it goes. We talked, and let me say first of all,
tell me.
It's going to be, and I apologize, or maybe I shouldn't apologize. It really doesn't matter. But most of these are going to be from the 80s and 90s.
Oh, yeah, there's no doubt. You got to remember our age.
Yes.
So I am 30. Am I 35?
Yeah, you'll be 36.
I'll be 36 this year in a couple months. Adam is 37.
Correct.
Be 38 at the beginning of next year.
Correct.
So you got to remember our age when it comes into this.
We grew up in the 80s and 90s.
We did. We're 80s, 90s kids. I'm big time 90s kid. Little bit of 80s, but the posters are phenomenal.
The time, a lot of them were where you had like a flamethrower baseball pitcher or something dress up as a firefighter with explosions going on behind him, and he's got a Dalmatian with him next to him, and he's holding a fire hose.
That is so great.
He's full body, dressed as a firefighter. I mean, stuff like that. That's just kind of a general example, but a lot of them are like that. And then you also have the traditional, the ones that you really think of. The Wings poster is going to be in there, of course. Of course.
So we have two. I'm not even going to say it. I'm not going to talk about them because they're my two favorite, but they'll be out there. You guys can vote, and I hope you guys vote the same way we would think of, because there's two posters that are going to be 1, 2, whether y'all vote them in 1, 2 or not. It's going to happen. So
the hard thing is, again, like the other ones, we need what you think is the best poster, not if it's
not the best player. It's not like because Michael Jordan's in it. I don't want you to just automatically vote for Michael Jordan. It could be some guy you never heard of, but the poster is phenomenal. Right. I need you to vote for Brett Hall over Karl Malone. That's what I need.
If you think the poster is cooler.
Right. I'm not saying literally. I'm just saying if the poster's better.
Exactly. So be on the lookout. Starting tomorrow, starting Thursday, I will be posting one each day for the next 16 days.
Is this going to be on the Twit box?
It will be on Facebook.
It'll be on the FaceTube, so check on the nosebleedsfacebook.com. Is it .com or is it just
Facebook.com?
Facebook.com. Go to Nosebleed Sports Podcast.
Correct.
All right, and then you'll be able to see everything you need to know.
Now,
from there,
we can go into the NBA Finals.
Let's get into the finals because I'm so excited. The NBA Finals is one of my favorite times of the year, except for the fact that it takes 6 months to play just for the finals. Like not the whole playoffs. The playoffs isn't that long. But the finals themselves take as long as the rest of the playoffs.
Yes.
Half the teams in the NBA make the playoffs. And the finals take as long as the whole rest of the playoffs.
It does. And that's...
You get 2-3 days off every single game.
Yeah. The one exception was between games 4 and 5. I think it was.
Yes.
Yeah, the one. I think
It
it
was
was
one
Wednesday
day
and
off.
Friday.
It was
Right.
Wednesday off, and you got into it was immediate, but it was the 1-2. It was the game 1-2, right? Or was it 2-3?
Oh, I thought it was 3-4 or 4-5.
Well, no, because that goes from state to state. So it was either 1-2 or 3-4.
It had to
Because
be
then
3-4.
5, 6, 7 is so because every playoff in the NBA now is 2 games, 1-1-1.
Right. As far as home court.
Home court.
Yeah.
2-2, 1-1-1, which I love. Can I tell you how much I love that?
I do too. I like it. Yeah.
I like that way better than 2-3-2.
Yeah. Game 5 is a lot of times the most pivotal game in a series, and if you are the lower seeded team, then you're going to play Game 5 at your home floor, and if you're the better team coming into that series, you should be able to play Games 5 and 7 at your home floor. Games 1, 5, and 7 at your home floor. So anyway, let's get right into. Just go into Game 5.
Before we get into Game 5, I'd like to say that Game 5 is brought to you by Ohio Mosquito Control. And we have, for sure, our very first booked on Nosebleed Sports podcast, Ohio Mosquito Control. Joe Leonard, who was with us last week, congratulations on booking your first treatment. Is that what they're called?
Very nice.
Yeah. So just want to say Ohio Mosquito Control. That's Ohio Mosquito Control. They're the pest of the pest. That's all I'm going with. I'm just really excited that we have brought a customer to them. Congratulations. And on that case,
thanks for sponsoring the program.
Thank you. And on that note, we will bring you the finals from Ohio Mosquito Control. Tell us how it starts.
The Ohio Mosquito Control NBA Finals.
Yeah, that's what I'm going with.
Sponsored by Ohio Mosquito Control. Also sponsored by Training Personally with Peggy Edwards.
Let's hear it.
No matter your level of fitness, Chris, beginner, intermediate, advanced, if you'd like to be challenged a little or a lot and want the benefit of working with a personal trainer without the cost of a personal trainer, then Training Personally with Peggy Edwards is the gym for you. Training Personally is interval circuit training for all levels with a personal trainer at your pace on your time. Peggy Edwards keeps your workouts fresh, safe, fun. Find her, Training Personally with Peggy Edwards on Facebook and also at trainingpersonally.com. Thank you for sponsoring the Nosebleed Sports Podcast, and thank you for sponsoring the NBA Finals. Now, Game 5.
Game 5.
Game 5 was... A lot of it was...
was it the best game of the finals?
Oh...
Yeah,
probably.
I mean, yeah, right.
Probably.
I mean, that's pretty simple.
It was played some good games. I mean,
yeah, this has been a good finals so far, but I mean, this was the best game, all in all, throughout. You had ups and downs. You had both teams coming from behind at some point in time.
Correct. Yeah, a lot of the game was Golden State up, and they got up by as much as 15, I think, 14 or 15 points, and then in the last 5 minutes, Toronto went on an incredible run, including 10 straight points from Kawhi Leonard,
Leonard looked like he couldn't miss a shot to save his life. That dude's he's running down, hitting 1-foot threes, falling back, running backwards, running into Kyle Lowry. Things were fun. I mean, it looked like he was a man on a mission. I thought that Toronto was going to win that game.
And they did come all the way back from down 14 or 15, and they made it. They went up, I think it was 5 or 6 with 2 minutes left or something like that.
I'm going to say 2 minutes, yeah.
And Golden State hit like 3 big shots, all threes, of course. They were 3 for their last 3, with Steph Curry hitting 1 and Klay Thompson hitting 2.
The Klay Thompson was probably the biggest one. So let's start with Klay. All right, let's start with that shot that Klay hit to put them ahead. So if you watch that, I'm sure you've watched it. Well, you saw it live, obviously.
Yes.
I watched it live. I watched it in slow motion. That might have been one of my favorite basketball plays of all time. Because if you watch it, you see the ball go from top down to Iguodala in the bottom. You see it go from Draymond in the middle. You see it get kicked out. But if you watch everything going on around it, you see screens from Iguodala. You see screens from Steph Curry set a screen moving around. Do the Warriors move the ball better than anyone in the NBA?
Right now, I would say yes, and we've spoken quite often about how different it moves when Kevin Durant's on the floor and when he's not.
We've done that before,
and
this was later in the game. But at the same time, was that the most beautiful basketball play? Maybe not play ever.
It is. If we're talking about the same one, it's my favorite play from this finals. Certainly.
By far.
Because it went from Curry driving basically almost down to the corner, giving it to Iguodala, who was like in the short corner, and he wasn't in a great position to score, but immediately it left his hands back up top to Draymond, who immediately swung it over to Klay on the other wing. Klay, perfect, and he does it so many times. Perfect shot fake from the defender, running out hard, closing out hard, and not really closing out because the closeout doesn't involve you just jumping out of the gym and trying to block a shot, because that's not a good closeout. But anyway, it's not
even the definition of a closeout. That's
exactly.
Not even a closeout.
Exactly. But that's what happened. So shot fake.
It's literally overplaying a ball.
Yes, shot fake. Defender flies by. I think he took his one dribble to the left just to get himself a little bit freer. Knocked it down, wide open shot. Klay Thompson makes that 9 times out of 10. That shot,
it's beautiful. It's like watching Pavarotti sing.
I give Andre Iguodala the most credit for that play.
Well, there's a reason why this guy's still on the team. There's a reason why this guy was an NBA Finals MVP. What is it? 5 years ago. I mean, it hadn't been that long ago.
Right.
This guy is phenomenal. I think Andre Iguodala is as big a part of this team as any of your big four that you talk about every day with your Steph, your Klay, your Draymond, your KD. Iguodala is as big a part of this team. He makes things happen, not just on the offensive side, but the defensive side. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I'm just going to jump to it, even though we probably didn't plan on it being right here. But on the defensive side, if it's not for Andre Iguodala, Kyle Lowry doesn't take that terrible shot from the corner to win the game. Andre Iguodala is the reason why Kawhi Leonard is forced to throw that ball out to Danny Green, who then throws it over to Kyle Lowry. However that little transition went, but Kawhi got the ball off a screen, comes over to the right. I think Klay's on him at that time, and as he drives, Iguodala, who better than anybody in the game with the wingspan that he has, stops Kawhi in his tracks.
They double teamed him.
It was a double team, but he stopped. It was the fact that Kawhi could have stopped and shot that ball right there, but he was able to do a proper closeout instead of jumping out like a crazy person. And I don't know. It makes me enjoy watching the NBA when you can see people play defense correctly. And these guys are playing at the best level, the highest level. And Andre Iguodala is as good as they get. He's not the fastest. He's not the quickest. But he plays defense as good as anybody out there.
Yep. He's been known more for his defense than anything else, of course, really throughout his career. He was a pretty good offensive player when he was younger because he was a lot quicker and, and that kind of stuff. But
and he could jump out of the gym. Good night. Everybody knows the guy can leap.
Yes. But he has been the biggest, not their biggest defensive presence, but one of them for sure. You know, you have him and Draymond Green together, two of the better defensive players in the league, playing on that team. When they're on the floor together, they're definitely and Klay Thompson is a really good defender too. You have three, really good defensive players on the floor when all three of those guys are in the game, and they were at the end there. And from what I understand, it was actually Draymond Green that was kind of directing traffic and told Iguodala, go now, because he was...
They forced him to get the ball 10, 12 feet away. He was going to have the ball out there. And they did a great job all around on defense, the same way they did 2 plays before that on offense when Clay got his shot.
Now, giving the ball up. But, honestly, he was being double-teamed by 2 good defenders. The way he was playing in that game, I think he could have made a move and gotten around the basketball play. He was double-teamed. You have a teammate open. I know a lot of people think you're the best player, you have to take the shot. You also can have the ability to score. He gave it up, like took a shot. Draymond Green closed out and left his feet, of course, again, but partially tipped it. It went behind the... From what I didn't think so at first, but somebody said he did. So
I hope he did.
Either way,
if he didn't partially tip that, then Kyle Lowry put up one of the worst shots for last time.
The ball behind the partially tipped, or he had to adjust it in midair some way. It was the defensive pressure from Draymond, rotating over and making him either change the shot or partially tipping it. It wasn't that bad of a shot from Kyle Lowry, because Kyle Lowry is not that bad. If it's Andre Robertson from OKC, I really do not think. People were killing, and people were posting all these memes and all these GIFs or whatever, and all these things.
Is it a GIF or a GIF?
I think it's a GIF. I think it's the actual correct thing is a GIF, but I think more people say GIF.
So then, what makes GIF correct?
I think that it.
Whatever does it stand for?
I don't know that.
Oh, I don't know. I wish you knew.
We can. If anybody knows, that is listening,
please comment,
because we have some people listening.
Please comment either on Facebook or comment on YouTube or comment on, Apple Podcasts or SoundCloud or whatever. What is GIF or GIF? Is it one?
And
is it a hard G?
Yeah.
Is hard? First off, I say hard G. I think GIF.
Right.
That's hard G.
Right.
J is a soft G.
Correct.
So hard G, soft G.
Right.
Put it on the poll, Allison. Is GIF with a hard G or a soft G?
So
you don't even know what to say.
Back to the shot. People were
Kyle Lowry
killing him.
Kyle Lowry is the
such a bad
worst
shot.
playoff player in the history of basketball.
It wasn't even that. It was just posting like videos of. There's this guy. I don't know his name, but he's kind of a chubbyish guy, and he a husky guy, we'll call him, if that's nicer.
I like husky.
Well, and he dresses like in a plain orange tank top, like a tight jersey and like some tight shorts or whatever, and he'll do like some funny move and then shoot the ball like 10 feet over the backboard. I don't know if you know who I'm talking about. I think he might wear some goggles or something like that. But anyway,
I don't know off the top of my head.
He's made himself somewhat famous on the internet for that. But anyway, and he posts those kinds of videos, and people were posting that and things like that, to describe Kyle Lowry's shot. Kyle Lowry, I guarantee you, did not just get a clean look at it and shoot it behind the backboard. I promise you that did not happen. But people were killing him, and I don't think it was fair.
I thought when I first saw it, that's what I thought. I was like, oh my God, that's the shot you got? And I didn't think that because of the fact that Kyle Lowry has struggled in the playoffs for so long and he just had a bad shot. I literally thought, ooh, that's it? That's all you got?
Yeah, it was. He had to get the shot off quickly. Number one, because the clock was running out, and number two, because Draymond Green was closing out hard on him.
Did they have a timeout?
At that point, I did, because I'm not sure, because Nick Nurse took 2 timeouts.
That's where I'm going.
At the end of the game, and at least one during their big run, when they made the big run and came back from 14 down and went up by 5 or 6.
All right, so I know I'm going all over the place because I was joking around about a timeout. That was a joke. Because it doesn't matter if they have a timeout. You let a team play. You let a team run the offense. You let a team do their thing. And I think they did. And I'm okay with the shot they got. I think it was the right shot. I think we both agree that in the end, that was the right basketball play. I preferably would have liked to have seen Kawhi Leonard take a tougher shot. I'm more comfortable with him taking a tough shot than Kyle Lowry getting an open look, especially if it was blocked or whatever, partially blocked or whatever. But what I want to know is, can you, okay, how do I want to ask you this question in a way for you to answer, and I'm going to name, did they choke?
That's another thing that I saw on social media that drives me insane almost every single time someone says it, whether it's social media or in like big traditional sports media or whatever.
Right.
People saying teams choked. In most cases, I don't think that's a run like they made.
Good night. They were down by 15. How is that choking?
With like
when
5 minutes left.
You had to come back from being down 15 points. No, you did not choke. There's no choking involved. You might have had to take a timeout, and you can call it choking that way. I'm going to tell you right now, Nick Nurse has outcoached Steve Kerr in the finals up through maybe the last 3 minutes of game 5. So that's 4 in almost a full 5th game. Nick Nurse has been the better coach. I don't want to hear about choking. I don't want to hear about any of that. They had to come back from being down. Was it 15?
I think it was 15.
I saw 12 at one point for sure. Mm-hmm. Could have been 15. Whatever the score was. If you have to come back from that far down at halftime, you didn't choke away a lead. It's literally impossible to choke when you've been down that much. You had to come back. There's no choking. It was in the fourth
quarter, too, that they had to come back from that far.
Was it that much in the fourth?
I believe so.
I know at halftime they were down by 12.
They were still down at least double digits in the fourth quarter, and they had to come back.
You didn't choke. So everybody out there talking about the Raptors choked this game away, that's not what happened. The Golden State Warriors shot the ball very well. Steph missed some big shots. Steph hit some big shots.
Yes.
Clay hit 2 huge shots. And it is what it is. But you cannot come out and say that the Raptors choked at the end of this game. Let me tell you something that irritates me more than anything. Blame on someone. Mm-hmm. Why does there always have to be blame on someone? I don't understand that. Sometimes the better team wins, and you're just better than them.
Yes. You made more plays.
You did this better. That doesn't mean that someone is to blame. There's never a play that loses a game.
Correct.
Right?
I'm with you, yes. Yes.
That irritates me more than anything in the world. And not only is that the same, okay, I'm going to bring this up now, and I'm jumping all over the place.
Let me ask you, who is to blame for Kevin Durant's injury?
That's what I was just about to say.
I know.
All right, Kevin Durant's injury. Who's to blame? No, let me ask you.
You want to ask me?
I want to ask you because I've got a feeling that I'm going to come in at a little bit different of an angle than you. So you tell me, who's to blame for Kevin Durant injuring his Achilles after being out for 8 games? Was it 8 games?
It was at least 8. Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
I believe it was 8 games.
Might have been 8. Yeah,
with a calf, a calf,
a lower calf injury. Yes. Let me tell you who was to blame.
What's the calf? First off, what's the calf attached to?
Everything in the leg,
the ankle,
the hamstring,
the Achilles. So anyway, go ahead.
Everything.
Who's to blame?
No one is to blame. And if someone is to blame, it's everybody. If you're going to blame somebody, everybody is to blame, but nobody really is to blame.
I am so sick and tired about everybody throwing out. You got Steve Kerr throwing out KD's manager and the team doctor's name, and you got the team you got the GM talking about blame me and this and that and the other. No, here's the deal. Things happen. KD felt comfortable. They have video of KD before the game in the tunnel, jumping up and down, making cuts, jumping and making cuts in the tunnel before the game, fully straining that calf. And if he's good enough to do that and he feels good, there's always a possibility for that ankle to hurt itself, especially this soon after a calf injury.
Mm-hmm.
There's no one to blame. He was cleared. He felt good. Stop trying to blame. It's 2019. Somebody's going to be to blame. It's 2019. Social media. Somebody's going to be to blame.
Mm-hmm.
You know what?
And we have to crucify them and
bullcrap.
And get rid of them.
Get out of here. This is ridiculous. Here's the deal. Guy wanted to play. He felt good enough to play. They were in a position to where if they lost the game, the finals were over. This year was over. The season was over. You are the best player on this team. You know you're the best player on this team, and you just went through your first practice, and you felt good, and you're jumping around, and you're moving, and your calf feels good. I know that there's always a little bit in the back of your mind. There's a little bit in the back of your mind that is doing things different because of a little bit of injury that you have. But at the same time, there's no one to blame. I don't blame KD. I don't think that it was his fault. I don't blame Warrior Nation for getting on him and maybe making him feel like he needed to come back. I don't blame the training staff for pushing him. I don't blame the general manager. KD felt good. KD felt like he could play. Get over it. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
The guy got hurt. He was hurt before. He got hurt after. Yes, I 100% think he came back early. If this was a regular season game, he never would have played in that game.
No.
But it's not regular season.
Way bigger.
No, it's so much bigger. It's not even funny.
There's not a bigger situation. If you're not coming back in that game, you're not coming back in any game.
And you know what I say? If you don't come back in that game and you practiced full practice the day before and you don't come back, then you quit on your team.
I don't agree with that. But
you don't think so?
No, and let me tell you why.
Is it because of your contract? Is it because of the money out there involved?
No. I don't think that has to do with anything.
We talked about this last week.
Yeah, I don't think money has to do with anything, and I don't think your next contract, your impending free agency matters in this situation. He's going to make a decision based on how he feels. He was, like you said, medically cleared by the training staff to be able to play. He felt like he could go. Now, you were saying he felt good. I don't know that he felt good, but he felt like he could play. So,
well, that's relative. I mean, what does good mean? I don't know. Well, I didn't say he felt great. He didn't feel like 100%. He felt good. Right. What is good? Good could be 60%. Good could be 80%. I don't know. Good's just relative.
Okay, so either way, he felt like he could play. The training staff cleared him too.
I'm playing.
Everybody, of course,
you'd play.
Of course, everybody in
your
that
brother
situation.
Would play. Your cousin would play. Your second cousin, twice removed, third generation from whoever would play. Everybody listening to this podcast would have played. So to come out and give some bullcrapping, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's okay.
It just pisses me off. There's no reason to blame somebody in this case. The guy wanted to play because this was the biggest game up to this moment in his life.
Yes. Now he could. Let me ask you this. He felt like he could play, and he wanted to play because of the stage, because of the situation. Yeah. So, but how much was it? And like you said, he practiced. Now, practices at this time in the season are not full practices. They're not hard practices. You're mostly just walking through stuff. You're not going hard. Now
you're telling me that this guy with an ankle injury or a calf injury before this happened goes through a we'll call it 30-40% practice. You're telling me he's not doing something more on the side before he figures out if he wants to play or not?
Definitely. You have to coming back from that injury, yes. But I just want to be careful not to say he did full practice and he was fine, and it was practice isn't practice like it is in the beginning of the season. But he did have to go through tests that would determine, whether he was going to be able to perform in a game or not. And even the catching an alley-oop from the coach in warm-ups and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's not simulating what you're really going to have to go through in a game, cutting, stopping, starting, all that kind of stuff. That's really going to matter. And being able to move like you need to move in the intensity of the game. You can't really simulate that until you actually get there. But you can do as much as you can and make sure it's good enough that it doesn't hurt badly just to make regular basketball moves. Okay. So, and I'm sure he went through all those things, and that's how he got medically cleared and all that stuff. So, we know that he wasn't 100%. We know he probably wasn't even really that close to 100%. But
nobody ever said he was. He never said he was 100%.
Right. So, but my thing is, he was medically cleared to play. He was good enough to play. How much do you think because he wanted to play more than anything. He's a competitor. I shouldn't have used that word. That's such a cliche. That's stupid. But anyway.
It's okay.
It is
truth. It is what it is.
Ultimately, it is. The competitive spirit that you have makes you want to go out there and compete at the highest level on the biggest stage for the biggest prize. How much do you think he said, yeah, I feel good, I feel fine, whatever it was, whatever word he used, to the training staff, to the coaches, to the rest of his teammates, to the people who needed to make those decisions, whether he was going to play or not? How much do you think he said, yep, I'm good to go, and in his mind thought, I don't really know. I'm saying this because I want them to let me play.
Does that matter?
Well, if it may, in that.
Where does that matter? Where does it matter? Are we going back to the blame game?
If there's any blame to give, it could be because you do have to medical staffs and coaches and everybody
can only go off of what you say.
Yes, and they have to try to protect guys from themselves because we see it in football. There's just a culture in sports, and it's even more so in football and a few other sports, that it's the mentality like nothing's going to keep me out. I'm too tough to be out or whatever.
Okay.
And you can block out rational thinking and reasonable thinking from yourself because you let that part of your brain take over.
And there's a certain amount of adrenaline and cortisone and everything that goes involved in that.
Sure. But throwing that out as a scenario that maybe he told them he felt better
for this because it's nothing I would have done, you would have done. Anybody we know or it doesn't matter what amount of money is coming behind it. Maybe it does because there are some players, maybe a Klay Thompson, if this happens to Klay, maybe if this happens to a guy like Draymond Green, that's a different story. But you're talking about a guy who, it doesn't matter. He's getting a max deal no matter. Still going to get the super max or whatever you want to call it. He's still going to opt out of his deal. He's still going to get a bigger deal. Whether he has to rehab for a full year or not, it's going to happen. So, no, I'm not blaming you. I feel like you're trying to get me to blame Kevin Durant. Like you're trying to talk me in to blaming Kevin Durant, and I'm not doing it. I don't blame Kevin Durant, and I don't blame the Warriors training staff for it because I think it's just everybody doing their job. I think the Warriors said, hey, how do you feel? Hey, this is a strain. It's a calf strain. Listen, anything like that happens, there's all kinds of things. Your whole gait is different. You, in the back of your mind, whether you're thinking about it or not, you are doing things differently than you would do in everyday life because of what you've done to your calf here just a week or two ago. So, yes. Is it Kevin Durant's fault for coming out and saying him? Do you want to blame the Warriors? Yeah, I'll blame them for not doing doing extra stuff. You can blame everybody. But in all honesty, there's no one to blame here. Everybody wanted to win. There's nothing wrong with wanting to win.
Yes, but if you know that the guy's really not,
do you know? Did they know?
No, they didn't know.
How do you know? If you're not being told, I don't blame Kevin Durant for not telling them exactly how he feels, and I don't know that he necessarily didn't tell them exactly how he felt.
We don't know
because he's got adrenaline going. He's got a lot of things happening in that time frame that for that game.
Just the bottom line, he wanted to play. Whether he told them he felt better than he really did or not, we don't know that. But either way,
then you blame Kevin Durant. I don't blame anybody.
Neither do I.
I'm done with it's 2018. We got to blame somebody. We got to get on social media and tweet about who did this wrong and who did that wrong. No. You know what happened? A guy wanted to get out and play in the biggest game of the year, and he's the best player on the team, and he wanted to play. Good for you.
They went through
Get your butt out there, play. It's in the first 14 minutes, and then got hurt.
Yep. And it was, we saw the video. I saw it several. The calf pop or whatever, it was strange, but it looked kind of gross. But either way, he confirmed today that it was a ruptured Achilles, which is one of the worst injuries you can have. He did have surgery. Surgery went well.
Is Kevin Durant super hopped up on some kind of pain pills right now? Does he?
Probably.
Over the last 3 days, well, not 3 days, over the last 2 days, what's going on? That's not like KD, right?
I feel like this is a big enough thing.
He's hiring a kite. Let's be honest. He's hiring a kite. It is what it is.
Maybe.
He's letting everybody know because he's hiring a kite.
You mentioned a little bit ago about, he's still going to get a max deal, a super max deal, or whatever.
I think so.
And that's going to be – it is now, people are talking about how it is going to affect free agency a little bit because – the same teams that might have been interested in signing him and pairing him with another superstar, the teams who have created that cap space to make that happen, might feel a little bit differently now, might not go after him as aggressively, or might make different plans to wait another year because it's an Achilles, it's a ruptured Achilles. The timeline is probably about a year,
right?
So. If the New York Knicks were planning on bringing he and Kyrie in together, they might not be thinking about that now because now you can bring Kyrie in, you can draft R.J. Barrett, and you can probably still get a decent pick next year too. And then Kevin Durant, who, by the way, still has a player option that he can pick up and stay with the Warriors for one more year.
Do you really think he's going to pick up a player option? That player option?
If I'm him, I would. You guarantee that it's like 31.5 million.
It's LeBron James being hurt, knowing you're going to be hurt for a full season, even though that is a contract year. I'm more comfortable being Kevin Durant opting out of next year, and I still think there will be plenty of teams coming at him with a max, super max, whatever you want to call that deal.
There will be, but like I said, some of the teams might be have some more reservations about it because now you're going to have to pay the guy whatever the super max is. I think it's like $41 million or something like that. You're going to have to pay him that for a year when you're getting no service from him.
Okay, so then my question to you is, if you have a chance at Kevin Durant, knowing that that you have a chance at him for 4 years, or is it 5? I think the supermax you can do 5.
Possibly, yeah.
We'll call it 4. We'll just call it 4. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 4 years. Kevin Durant. Okay, Kevin Durant, the absolute prime of his career, but you don't get next year. Oh, you don't believe this is still the prime of his career?
He's going to be 32 when he comes back.
Yeah, and there's nothing that tells me he's not in his prime.
Well,
34 a game in the playoffs before he gets hurt?
Maybe he's in his prime right now, coming off of an Achilles injury and another year older into your 30s.
Okay, so at the top of his prime, coming down,
Yes,
and it's
still
KD.
Kevin Durant.
Does that
I
matter?
understand.
It's still KD. He's still the second best, third best, second best, first best, whatever you want to put him. He's still in the top 5 of the entire league, whether he is coming down, going up, at the point, at the peak, it doesn't matter. He's still in that top 5 of the league, and he will be there in a year. So you're going to have your franchise wait maybe a year. Maybe they make the playoffs. Maybe you do all your deals, and your team has to wait an extra year. But are you really that worried? I'm 100% trying to sign KD for 2 years from now.
It's a decision everybody's going to have to figure out how to, there's really only probably like 3 teams that are a possibility anyway. But you're going to have to decide whether, yes, you want to pay him all that money to miss a year. And
would you not do it?
Well,
what would you do?
But you have to decide whether you want to do that, and then you don't know exactly.
You're the Knicks.
You don't know exactly.
No. You're the Knicks. Okay, you don't
what's
know
going to
exactly.
happen when he comes back, how he's going to be. Is it going to be,
Do you not know? I mean, I pretty much know what he's going to be.
No, you don't know. You have an idea, but you don't know for sure. I mean, guys come back. Guys have had these catastrophic injuries and come back and not been the same player.
Is this as catastrophic as everybody's making it out to be, or is it just
it's probably
right now?
It's probably the worst injury.
Dominique Wilkins came back from it.
You're right. He did, and he averaged like 35 in the first month when he came back.
Yeah,
certainly. It doesn't happen that way.
You're telling me that he's not a Dominique Wilkins esque, not esque.
He's not.
Let me help. Let me get the words right. He's not a Dominique Wilkins caliber of player.
It has nothing to do with that. He's not Dominique Wilkins the person. He doesn't have Dominique Wilkins' body.
Nobody is.
Totally
he might come back
body.
even stronger.
He might. You're right. He might. But it's a gamble. You don't know that. Nobody knows how he's going to come back. I'm
taking him. I'm signing him. I'm saying, come play with me, because in 2 years we are going to be in the finals. We're going to be in the finals in 2 years when KD comes back.
Depending on nothing.
Team and depending on the fact that I got Kevin Durant on my team.
Takes you to the finals.
Yes.
Wow. I couldn't disagree more, but that's totally okay.
If I was in the East.
Even so, Kevin Durant alone does not take you to the finals.
There's so many. I mean, obviously, there's so
LeBron
many
James
qualifiers. I mean, that's obviously then I mean it to be. What I'm saying is, Kevin Durant gets you to. I mean, it definitely gets you to the playoffs.
Makes you better.
It probably gets you to the second round of the playoffs just having Kevin Durant on your team.
Yes, it depends on a lot.
If you have a healthy LeBron James in LA, they probably make it to the second round of the playoffs. They're not winning anything in the West. Listen, I love LeBron James, but I'm not an idiot. They were a 4 seed when he got hurt. Mm-hmm. There's nothing that tells me they wouldn't have still been in at least made it to the second round of the playoffs with LeBron. And you can't tell me that KD's that next guy right behind LeBron. I mean, that's it. It's 1-2, right?
He has been. I'm not.
At least for the last 3 years, it's been 1-2. You can put Kawhi there, but 1, 2, 3, whatever you want to do. When you talk about pure
scorers, KD is over LeBron, honestly. But
okay, so pure basketball players.
There are too many. He has been for the last 12 years.
LeBron's the best player in the NBA.
He has been for about the last 10 years.
LeBron's the best player in the NBA.
Until this year.
Because he got hurt. You're telling me because he got hurt. Before he got hurt, he had the worst team in the NBA as the 4th best team.
No, they were 4th, I think.
I'm pretty sure
they were 4th.
I thought they were 6th. Ethan was on their team.
And other guys as well.
Who?
The other guys that played the rest of the year when he wasn't there.
When
he came back, they didn't win after that when he came back either.
Because they're already terrible.
That's why. But I thought LeBron makes you that much better.
He does, but you can't come back when you come back that late. He was too far gone.
They didn't win anymore when
girlfriend.
Let's move into something else. Okay, basketball's over now. Okay, we're gonna talk about. We got plenty of other stuff to talk about.
Basketball's not over.
No,
listen.
I didn't. talking about basketball.
I'm not done talking about the.
You want to say something else about the NBA?
No, I got nothing else. I could do it all night long.
So could I. We got so many other things we want to hit.
We do.
Football and women's soccer and all this other stuff.
So what are we getting into first?
We are going to, Forbes, 100 highest paid athletes.
Speaking of LeBron James.
The 100 highest paid athletes. Forbes put out the list yesterday or the day before. Let's say like the top. See how you can do. See how you do.
All right. And I'll give you question. First, are there?
That's exactly the first clue I was going to give you. 1 through 3 are soccer players.
All right. So Messi.
That's number 1.
Okay.
I
just did.
Same.
Landon Donovan. Okay. So we got Messi. We got
Cristiano Ronaldo.
That's the guy who had the he's named after him, and the bust looks nothing like him. Ronaldo is
Number 3 is Neymar. His name's just Neymar.
He doesn't have a last name, or that is his last name?
I guess so. I don't know. He's a soccer player. He's made $105 million bucks. What he makes playing, and then $30 million is from endorsements.
Wow.
Number 4, 5 are not in the big 3 sports.
The big 3 in America, because we all know that soccer.
Right. Just talking about America, the big 3 sports are baseball, basketball, and football. So it takes 1 through 5.
It's got to be LeBron next, right? LeBron's next.
1 through 3 are the soccer players. Number 4,
just tell me the sport.
Boxing.
Fat, overweight, heavyweight that we got right now. Yeah, he's a steroid guy.
Right.
Number tennis. Oh, Serena Williams.
No.
I don't know a men's tennis player.
You know men's tennis
Rafael Nadal.
Close.
Who is Roger Federer.
Exactly.
All right. Yeah, we're on a roll.
Yeah. Next 2 surprise me. Ball players, both quarterbacks. But number 6, the number 6
really, the next 2 are both
paid athlete in the world.
All right. So you have the ding dong from Washington, Kirk Cousins.
It is not.
Is it on?
No. LeBron is not in the one.
Wow.
So
let's go with.
This guy plays on the West Coast.
Oh, well, then it's got.
Exactly. That's exactly who it is. He's number 6.
All
number
right.
7 is another quarterback. But it would just give it away easily.
Don't do that.
Okay.
Another quarterback.
I don't know if he plays.
Wow. Well, then I can't help you.
He plays. I'll tell you, he plays in the Midwest.
NFC, AFC. You have any idea? We're doing a sports podcast. You don't know.
I know. Yeah. He plays.
Okay.
He plays.
Okay. Give me a color.
Green.
Oh, Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
he's the AFC, by the way.
He's AFC. He's number 7. And then the next 3 are basketball players.
Or is he NFC? You know what? To be honest, I don't know. We don't do football on the Nosebleed Sports podcast.
Yeah. It's number 9.
Give me a sport.
The next 2 basketball. The next 2 are basketball, and they're both in.
We're talking KD next, and then Steph.
Reverse that.
Steph and then KD.
Steph is number 9.
Wow.
KD
Steph's
is number 10.
9. He signed his contract like 4 years ago. That's impressive, especially because he sells old man Under Armour shoes.
They're coming around.
Are they? Because they're just old people shoes.
No, the very first one.
You're an old person.
I
so
know.
You're allowed to like them.
No, there's so many other pairs that have come out since the first ones.
Okay.
Anyway, he actually makes more in endorsements than he does per year.
Isn't that how most of these guys probably are?
Not Aaron Rodgers, not Russell Wilson.
That's
not Canelo
That's
Alvarez.
very surprising. And there's no baseball in the top 10.
Nope. No baseball in the top 10.
Because those guys make buco bucks.
In fact, yeah. And in
Mike Trout?
Yep. Number 11 is a golfer.
Tiger?
Yep. Number 12 is...
Wait, time out. How crazy is it that Tiger Woods is still in the top 15, and this dude is literally probably the 30th best golfer in golf.
How much money did he win by winning the Masters? Like probably all of this.
What does it say he won? Because I'm going to say he won probably $4 million, $3 to $4 million.
I don't. They have. Well, yeah, salary. It says salary $9.9 million, so I guess that's just this year.
Yeah.
So, but $54 million in endorsements.
That's Nike.
Yeah,
my brother. That's Nike.
Right.
Cashing checks.
Yep. The one of the few sponsors that did not drop him.
Nike doesn't make golf clubs anymore.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure they only and he swings a Bridgestone.
Okay.
Golf ball. Which is a tire company. So he's basically making money specifically off the hat he wears and the shirt he wears.
Yeah.
And the belt he wears and the pants he wears and the shoes he wears.
Probably.
All right,
Nike.
so he's making some money.
Probably Nike undies, right?
Oh, well, he's definitely got the Nike Pro. You ever threw on a pair of Nike Pro boxer briefs?
I have not. No.
The breath that your crotch has is phenomenal.
Is it? I'm sure it's worth it, but man, I can't spend.
It's not worth $14 for a pair of drawers.
That's the thing.
If I got drawers on, I'm not spending $14 on a pair of drawers.
I'm not either, but that's coming from a guy who spends like $17 to $20 on a pair of socks.
So, are you a boxer brief guy, boxer guy? Where you go?
Number 12 is a
breaking this down. It's breakdown time.
Number 12 is another quarterback.
What's wrong with what? I think this is a good conversation to have, because I'm going to tell you where I'm at. I'm a mix.
I know you have no problem with.
I was a boxer guy for most of my life. I've definitely switched over to the boxer brief. It cuts off a lot of chafage. It's a big time. So the boxer brief, I feel like, is the perfect combination. If you could take two things that are just beautiful and put them together, I feel like boxer brief is that combination.
I don't know if I consider the brief beautiful.
So you're a boxer guy.
I'm exactly the same as you. I'll just make it easy. And that really is the truth.
A little bit of both.
I'm the
a
same
little bit
as
of both.
Yeah.
If I'm playing baseball, well, not baseball. If I'm playing basketball, no, I take that back. When I'm playing sports, I've always got compression shorts on. I'm a tights guy.
Okay.
I like tights. I got sliding shorts or something or a compression short on when I'm playing some kind of sport. But if I know I'm going to like Kings Island, I'm wearing boxer briefs 100%.
Kings. Okay. All right. So your
it's a lot of walk.
So
it's a lot of walk.
Park underwear is.
If I'm golfing, boxer briefs. Amusement, golf. That's boxer brief. If I'm chilling around the house, gonna watch a Reds game, it doesn't matter. Whatever I pull off the top.
Yeah.
One thing I'm not a fan of: silk boxers.
Okay.
You got any?
Might have had a pair when I was a kid or something.
Not a fan.
Yeah, I don't
ride
really
up.
remember.
They ride up. They get a little crazy. Anyway, back to where we're at.
Number 12 is another quarterback.
Okay.
And he plays in the AFC North. How about that? I know that.
Roethlisberger?
Yep.
It's the only person that you would know that is a quarterback in the AFC
I
North.
know the AFC North. I don't know the rest of the league.
Because it's definitely not Andy Dalton, and it's definitely not
any of the other quarterbacks in the division.
Who's the guy for Cleveland now? I feel terrible. You almost said Johnny Manziel.
I know, yeah, it's not Manziel.
Oh, Baker Mayfield.
It doesn't matter who it is.
He's terrible.
Number 30, there's a three-way tie for number 13, which means this is 13 through 15. Let me tell you that I don't know if I've ever heard of this guy, which is surprising, even though it is this, at least. This is an auto racer.
Ooh, auto racing.
Hey,
can I do a hard pass on that?
Yeah, I'll just give you Lewis.
I did not know Lewis Hamilton because he's a flippin' race car driver. That's why I didn't know him.
We have another boxer at number tied for 13.
Alvarez?
No. This is
I just know Canelo Alvarez.
This is the guy, this is the heavyweight that was the champ that just got beat, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, well, got beat by the fat guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's this guy's name?
Anthony Joshua.
Oh, Joshua. Yeah, two first names, can't trust him.
We were just talking about that at work today. That's crazy.
It says is it not the truth?
Okay,
tell me one person you know with 2 first names that you trust.
I don't trust anybody, so that doesn't apply to me. I can't answer that question. The very last guy on this list is a football player. He's a defensive player.
Aaron Donald.
He just joined a new team last season. He was one of the best defensive players in the league. Joined a new team last season. And his net worth is $55 million.
What number is this?
That is 50. This is it. This is number 15. 54 of the $55 million he makes from his salary. $1 million from endorsements.
That's a lot of money.
That is a lot of money.
I didn't realize the NFL made this kind of money. Who is it?
It is Khalil Mack. Mack.
Wow. So a lot of people I thought that made more money than Khalil Mack.
The top 15.
I would think
really
somebody like a Bryce Harper, just from endorsements and things. I would think a guy like
Bryce Harper's number 23.
That's all right.
Above Bryce Harper, you have DeMarcus Lawrence, football player. You have Phil Mickelson, Novak Djokovic.
DeMarcus Lawrence,
who I've never heard of.
When you say football, is that American football?
That is American football. I can't click on this because it's going to just like time out on me because I don't have the internet here. But he's above him.
What does he make?
Djokovic. Who's that?
DeMarcus Lawrence.
$46.8 million plus $150,000
defensive end for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yep.
Boy, we are not a football podcast.
We are not a football podcast until football season when we have Andre Edwards come on and tell us about the Bengals because we need.
That's the extent of our football podcast.
Well, right, because that's why we have to have guys like him on to explain what's going on to us.
Exactly.
Anyway, so that was the Forbes top 100. You got all kinds of surprises. Have you ever heard of Sebastian Vettel or Vettel?
Oh, Vitali.
No.
Oh, no, I have no idea.
He's another race car driver. Let's see. Brandon Cooks, I wouldn't think would be. He's number 34.
Brandon Cooks? Are you kidding me? This is ridiculous. Take Forbes, throw it out the window. There's not a baseball player over top of Brandon Cooks except Mike Trout.
No, that's Brandon Cooks is number 34. You have Trout is 17, but the only other baseball player besides him is Bryce Harper at number 23.
Are you kidding me?
Yep. Until you get to let's see, next baseball.
Pujols?
Manny Machado.
Newly signed.
Right.
Manny
Machado's number 38.
All 3 newly signed. That's ridiculous. All right, next. What's our next thing on the list?
David Price is number 50. He's the next guy.
I'm done. What's our next thing on the list? This Forbes has got me irritated.
So speaking of baseball, let's talk about.
I didn't hear Chris Witt.
Chris Witt was not on this list, unfortunately.
I've got a studio in my basement.
And I don't know how many maybe none of these other guys have studios in their basement.
That's all I know. Rum Dum Studios coming to you live, Nosebleed Sports Podcast.
Let's switch gears. Let's switch gears to something that we'll stay in the baseball. We were just talking about the guys on the Forbes list from baseball. A guy who played 20 years, made a ton of money because he was a great player, who's from the Dominican Republic, who was back there.
Yeah, so let me start off here. So this year, so 2009. So 2008.
That is not this year.
No. Let's keep flipping. So 2008, the Boston Red Sox won the World Series. Mm-hmm. 2009, I was married.
Hey.
Yeah, on my birthday.
Hey.
At the same time, can never forget my anniversary. It's on my birthday. It's so great.
You better not.
I definitely suggest that to anybody out there. Never forget. Anyway, so 10 years later, Big Papi, David Ortiz, gets shot in the Dominican Republic. 2 weeks after we decide that we're going to the Dominican Republic for our 10-year anniversary.
Is that right? When is your 10-year anniversary?
My
this
birthday.
year.
My birthday this year. And now we're not going to the Dominican Republic. That was the last straw. There's been a few people died in the Dominican that were American tourists.
Yes, I did hear that.
And since then, David Ortiz was shot. And now we're not going to the Dominican Republic
How much
anymore.
of this trip did you have planned already?
Pretty much all of it.
Did you you already paid for tickets and made reservations?
Whole thing. All
You're
paid for.
kidding me.
Fully paid for.
Thank goodness that you have a travel agent, correct? In your
It was my
family.
mother-in-law.
There you
Thank God.
go.
Yeah, she can hook us up, help us out, make
There
sure
you
we
go.
can make some things. Yeah, travel plans got switched up. So David Ortiz, I wanted to go to the Dominican Republic so
And
I
help
could
him.
get. No, are you kidding? The Red Sox already chartered a flight for my man. Picked him up on their private jet, brought him back. He's already taken his first steps. He's feeling good. But I did want to go to the Dominican and take a cab or whatever I could get the 3-4 hours over to where he would have been shot at in Santo Domingo or something like that. Just see if I can get some coagulated blood, bring it into the Rum Dum Studios, have a little Boston Red Sox, a little extra Boston Red Sox,
Have a little vial of a couple of drops of David Ortiz's blood with some street
Look,
dirt.
I'm just trying to hook us up, man. I want us to be as legit as possible.
That would be some kind of sports souvenir.
Memorabilia. I want the memorabilia to be at the highest level in Rum Dum Studios.
I think you do. You got some good stuff here. I mean, not everybody's a Xavier fan, but you are. You got all kinds of Reds. You got a
I
lot
got all
of
kinds of
baseball
Paul
stuff.
Witt. I got all kinds of Paul Witt
artwork.
Artwork in here. Yeah. We've done pretty good.
Famous artist. We've got some pretty good decorations, and adding Big Poppy's blood would be nice.
It would.
But in all seriousness, we don't know what the motive was. Now, we've found out now that there are 6 guys that are involved in this.
Oh, now last I heard it was 2. Oh, it was 3. It was 2 cops that were hired.
Oh, I didn't know about
there
the
were
cops.
2 police officers that were hired. There was one police officer that was on the motorcycle. He's the one who got his.
These guys were cops?
He got absolutely beat. He got beat down by the locals
because
there was
everybody
the guy who
loves
shot him.
David Ortiz.
The guy who shot him, from what I understand, I don't know 100% from what I understand, was also a cop. They were together. Now, I didn't hear anything about there was 6. I knew there was those 2 and somebody that hired those 2.
Here's the odd thing, is when you get a story from another country, sometimes it's lost in translation a little bit. I have heard so many different things about this thing now.
Isn't it crazy?
It is crazy. I just read an article before I came over here. There are now 6 guys that have been detained, that have been arrested, that are involved in this thing. I'm hearing that the guy driving the motorcycle, like you mentioned, that everybody grabbed and beat the heck out of,
beat the brakes off of that
and
guy.
then turned over to the police.
Yep.
I'm told what is a motorcycle taxi cab driver, a motorcycle taxi driver.
Man, see, I got my stories all mixed up then.
Well, I don't know that you did, because
who knows?
We're all hearing a bunch of different things, because I heard it was 2 people at first.
Yeah.
I just heard today that there are 6 now that they've got, and they're all going to trial, and they're trying to get this guy.
Here's the deal. You're talking about the Dominican Republic. So back in the day, Sammy Sosa was the basically the president. He could have done whatever he wanted to in the Dominican. David Ortiz is that guy right now. David Ortiz is the king of where he's at. Now, I also heard that there was some big drug lord that thought David Ortiz was sleeping with his old lady, and he's the one who hired this hit. There's all
that's the thing.
There's so many crazy things that come out of stuff like this. You know what probably happened? It was probably some lunatic had a gun, shot David Ortiz in the back, thinking he was going to be famous or whatever. He probably just wanted people to know his middle name, because the only people in the world that you know their middle name are people who assassinated people, right?
Yeah.
Do you know
John
anybody's
Wilkes Booth,
Do you know anybody else's middle name?
David Lee Roth.
Keep going.
Eric Keith Davis, Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Larry Bird does not have a middle name. No, Larry Joe Bird. I'm sorry, he does have a middle name. It's Joe. It's not Joseph. It's Joe.
Okay. Well, you're a ding dong, so that doesn't count.
Christopher James Witt.
I'm Christopher Schmidt.
Yep, I was named after you. Obviously,
even though you were born before me. So anyway, besides, touching things I shouldn't touch. Besides the point, I don't know. It's just crazy, isn't it? It is. It's nuts. There's story after story after story, and this is the kind of thing that becomes legend. This is the kind of thing that makes a guy like David Ortiz the greatest DH.
He was already a legend.
The greatest DH to ever step foot on a baseball field. Not only to step foot on a baseball field, but to play every single day at Fenway Park. Mm-hmm. A 100-year-old streak of not winning a World Series for the Boston Red Sox, and to be the MVP of that World Series, and then to get shot, almost assassinated, and now he's flown back into the United States. And it's like it all's coming together. This guy is going to be what Roberto Clemente could have been. He's going to turn into a Roberto Clemente.
David Ortiz is already so beloved. I love
him. Yankees fans love David Ortiz.
Does anybody
That's
not
how
like the guy?
unbelievable this guy is. David Ortiz played his entire career for the Boston Red Sox. Yankees fans love David Ortiz.
They do, and there's a lot to love. He was a great hitter, and it's more his personality than anything. The guy is always
100%.
The guy was always happy. The guy was always friendly. At least that we've seen. Maybe he's sleeping with a drug lord's wife, though. Maybe,
he's got a wife and a kid, and his wife is beautiful. There's no reason for that. David Ortiz is just out drinking when and then when he goes out drinking, he comes home and he flies home to Miami. You know what I mean?
Now,
he hangs out in Miami.
There's a report that this may have been a hit, because there was a report that this guy was offered $7,800 American dollars, whatever that translates to.
Whoa. $7,800.
That's
$7,800.
Whatever it translates to pesos.
Would you shoot David Ortiz for $7,000?
I wouldn't shoot David Ortiz for every single dollar in the entire universe.
You wouldn't shoot David Ortiz for $5 billion.
No, I wouldn't shoot anyone for
through the. I'm just going to shoot him right through the gut. I mean, he's got a big gut. I'll shoot him through the back, comes through the gut. We're good. He's got to get a gallbladder removed.
That had to be
big deal.
High-powered gun,
was it?
right?
I mean, he wasn't
it
that
went
far
all
away.
the way through him.
I feel like I could shoot
all the way through David Ortiz, remember?
That's true. It's David Ortiz, and he ain't played in 2 years.
Right. Yeah.
It's a lot of beef to go through.
Yes. Very strange story.
Too soon?
He's had
too soon?
No,
we're
not
good.
too soon.
We're good.
Not too soon.
We love you, Poppy. We love you, Poppy.
Yes, we do. Because we are fans. Because he has had 2 surgeries now, and he's gotten up. He's sat up. He's taken a few steps. He's on the road to recovery.
He's fine.
He's still in the
coming
ICU.
back. He will be playing baseball in a year and a half.
Okay.
Next year he's coming back and playing baseball.
I will put $5 billion on that. I will bet you $5 billion on that. I won't shoot David Ortiz for $5 billion. I'll put $5 billion on that. For a bet with you.
I'm not betting you.
Okay. So, in all seriousness, though, he's still in intensive care, but he's doing well. And we send our love and all that good stuff to David Ortiz for a speedy recovery. Let's get into what's going on in the game today.
Right.
We have enjoyed talking about, well, we've mostly enjoyed talking about mostly because with the Derek Dietrich stuff.
I'm so excited about this. This is my favorite conversation. So
the home run, watching it, bat flips,
so
whatever.
People these days, we talk about let the kids play, right?
I don't, but yes, A lot of people do.
A lot of people do. Here's the deal. Games evolve, right?
Yeah.
Back in the day, you were not allowed to dunk. You were not allowed to dunk in basketball. It was a foul, not a foul,
Some sort of
violation to dunk. If you couldn't dunk now, that would be ridiculous. Am I right?
Yeah, if it was against the rules.
Yeah, if it was against the rules to dunk, that would be stupid. It's such a bad word. I hate saying that word.
It seems like it because we have only known basketball with dunks in our lifetime.
We have, but it used to be against the rules.
Right.
Okay. So unwritten rules of when you hit a ball, the hardest thing to do in all of professional sports is to, I believe, to hit a baseball thrown by a professional pitcher.
Sure.
You agree?
Yes, I've always heard that. Yeah.
You've heard that. Do you think that? Do you believe that?
I hope something in soccer is a lot harder to do because those guys are getting paid way too much.
Yeah. They just run a lot. They're just tired. They're just more tired.
They're professional actors.
I feel bad for all soccer. Listen, if you're a soccer fan and you're listening to Nosebleeds Sports Podcast, he's on Twitter
at Adam Schmidt 44. Please feel free to tweet at me and let me know how much you're upset about my comments about soccer players being professional actors.
Exactly, because they are. Anyway, so at one point in time, it was ridiculous the fact that you were not even allowed to dunk when you played basketball. So at some point in time, Major League Baseball, or fans of Major League Baseball, or fans of baseball in general, need to realize that it's a little ridiculous not to be or to be upset at somebody who does the greatest feat in all of sports, which is make perfect contact against a professional baseball pitcher and hit a ball 400 and some feet. It's okay to admire it and enjoy the work that you do, like a Derek Dietrich, and spend 3, 4, 5 minutes in the box watching the ball go out. That's too much time, obviously. But let's talk about what happened the other night. Madison Bumgarner, known for being an old school grunt, hardworking, that old school baseball guy. Did he go a little too? I'm going to tell you right now, he went too far.
Let's set it up.
He's the one who. Okay, set it up.
Max Muncy. First of all, you have the Dodgers Giants.
Time out.
Rivalry for a long time.
Time out.
Okay.
Best power hitter name of all time, Max Muncy.
Really?
You don't think so?
I don't know why.
Give me a better one. I know.
Hank
Don't you hate when people say that? Don't you hate when people say that? Give me a better one.
Hammer and Hank?
Yeah,
right.
that's a nickname. I want best all-time power hitter name. Full name.
Ted Power. All right. Anyway, Max
pitcher.
Muncy. Max Muncy.
Gary Gaetti. Best nose of all time. Anyway, go ahead. Sorry, I apologize.
Second best nose of all time. Max Muncy is hitting first inning, by the way. First inning, 0-0. That's the score. Let's set that up. They're playing in San Francisco, right? Where you have the
right
the
field.
Water.
You got kind of a short porch, but besides a short porch,
behind
the wall, you got about 6, 7, 8 rows of stands, and then it goes to the ocean.
Yeah. So
I don't know if that's a Pacific or the Atlantic.
It's McCovey's Cove. I know that. That's what they call it. But yeah, whatever part of a giant body of water that is.
It's a large body of water.
So Max Muncy hits a home run, kills it, hits the water, hits, probably 30 yards into the water. It didn't bounce on the little street behind it or anything.
It almost
like that.
landed in the kayak that was back there.
It
was really close.
It went over a couple kayaks, I think, and
it
almost
went over
landed
5
in
one kayak.
Right. So anyway, it was a monster shot.
He killed it.
He killed it.
No. He killed it.
He killed it.
My man got a little Irish on it.
He got a little Irish on it, and he hit it. He started his first. I counted them 3 steps. Number 1, he hit the ball. Immediately started taking his first step. He didn't stay in the box at all.
Hold on.
Immediately started taking his first step. Took 3 steps and then went into his home run trot.
Are you on Max Muncy's side on this?
100% on Max Muncy's side on this.
Holy cow! Kids play.
And I will never say that because that's not what this is. Even though Madison Bumgarner addressed that after I didn't
hear that, but okay.
So anyway, Madison Bumgarner thought that Max Muncy was watching it.
This is what annoys me.
And this is
Bumgarner, don't get in his grill.
Yeah.
You're showing him up. Guess what I'm going to do? If I just blasted a ball off you and you're going to yell at me, I'm going to say this to you.
Say it.
I'm going to say, if you don't want me to watch it, go get it out of the ocean. It makes no sense at all.
It doesn't.
But it's the greatest thing ever said on a baseball diamond.
And Max Muncy said that is what he responded to, among other things.
If you don't want me to watch it, go get it out of the ocean. So great. I love Madison Bumgarner. I now love Max Muncy 5,000 times better than I love Madison Bumgarner.
So that was really funny, but it was different, and I kind of feel like Madison Bumgarner almost right away realized, like, okay, you know what? Maybe I was, because the home plate umpire ran out and was like almost yelling at him.
Dude, but he was still going around third and he was still screaming. So it wasn't almost automatically.
He was more into the conversation with the umpire at that point, but he was still talking.
Muncy was still getting out. I'm with Muncy though. Once you start, I got the best of you. Guess who's getting the last word? I'm getting the last word.
See, and that's where the problem is for me is when it's about getting the best of somebody and having to show them up, and that's not what Muncy was doing.
That's not what Muncy was doing. But if I got the best of you, and you're gonna come at me, guess what? I'm getting the last word in. I am going to. Because I'm not going to just take it from you.
Then you can say get it out of the ocean. You can say get out of the ocean.
Go pick that thing up out of the ocean.
So
go ahead. Go walk in the ocean. Go pick that up.
But it was. And you want to talk about.
Go talk to Fred Smith, who's in a kayak, 5 kayaks deep, and go see if he'll give it to you.
Fred's a pretty nice guy. He'll probably give it to you.
Oh, yeah, I'd say so. If Madison Bumgarner came out there, I'd give it to him.
Sure. But this is 100% different than the Derek Dietrich issue that we talked about so long. 100. It's not anywhere close. It's not anywhere close to a lot of situations where guys hit home runs and watch it.
All Tim Anderson's home runs.
Tim Anderson's home runs where he'll stand there for a while and watch it and then twirl the bat like a baton, like it's a baton show, and toss it to strike.
That's what I say. You strike me out, do what you want. Hey, you know what Amir Garrett said? Amir Garrett. So we're a Cincinnati-based podcast. Obviously, if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, you see we're all Cincinnati in the background. So we're a Cincinnati-based podcast. Amir Garrett should be in the All-Star game, the Major League Baseball All-Star game, because of how well he's pitched as a relief pitcher. And he came out and said, here's the deal. You get the best of me, you do what you want. You hit it out, you do what you want. But that doesn't mean I can't get excited on the mound when I strike you out.
And in most cases, I feel like those are totally different things.
What's totally different things?
We shouldn't get into that.
No, I want to. No. We've already. No. What is totally? I've never heard this before. What's totally different? Strikeout to home run is different.
It's the way they react to them is different.
So pumping a fist.
Pumping a fist is being excited about the play you just did. Watching the home run is rubbing it in somebody's face. That's not celebrating.
No way.
That's not celebrating. It's watching and boasting about it. You
don't have an opportunity to watch when you're pitching because you literally it hits the glove that it's over. I think pumping your fist and getting excited is worse than standing there and watching your home run go out.
So every time a guy,
if you watch a ball and it doesn't go out and it's a double off the wall, or you walk to first and you only get a single, then guess what? You're going to get crucified by your team, by everybody in the dugout. They're going to laugh at you and make fun of you. But if you hit a ball so well that it goes 450, 470 feet, 100%, that is not nearly as bad. As long as you're just watching the ball and then you start jogging when it's gone. That is nowhere near as bad as jumping on the mound, pumping your fists up in the air and hooting, hollering, and all that.
I don't know any pitchers that do all that. There are guys that get excited.
Garrett, well, I could name a few of them.
Chris
Archer.
But they don't do that after every one. It maybe
not everyone.
Maybe at the end, getting out of a jam or something, they get excited because the adrenaline is up.
But that's
extra.
The same as a home run.
But it's
how
not.
many times when you're up to bat do you hit a home run? One out of how many times?
It depends on who you are.
Okay, let's just say if you're a home run hitter, 1 out of every 10 times you're up to bat, you get a home run. So if you're a pitcher, 1 out of 10 times you're getting pumped up and shooting and hooting and hollering. You're probably doing that more than 1 out of 10 times.
How many pitchers do you know are hooting and hollering and jumping up and down?
I'm getting too crazy about it, but I'm just telling you that say an Amir Garrett, 1 out of every 3 outs he's doing that, which is probably 1 out of every 6 batters. 1 out of every 10 to 13 to 15 at bats is a guy like Derek Dietrich hitting a home run. So he's doing it less.
But
he's doing it less.
Runs are at an all-time high rate right now. It's not.
There's still more
rare.
strikeouts. There's still more strikeouts than there are home runs.
Okay, and sure, and there should be, but it's still. Home runs are. We just had a game the other day that broke the record. They combined Arizona.
And strikeouts are at an all-time high. So why are you getting all excited about every strikeout you have?
Nobody's getting.
Don't say nobody. Don't say nobody's getting excited.
It's not nobody, but the way that pitchers react to strikeouts.
I bet there are more pitchers getting it. I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna start looking it up.
How are you gonna find?
I don't know. I'm YouTubing. YouTube's got crazy stuff.
There's no. Okay,
I'm gonna call Scott Van Pelt.
We are not. We have discussed this so many times that people listening to this podcast are tired of hearing it, and we're not
tired of it. I think they love it. Let the kids play.
We're not going to get
said that. If you're on here,
nails on a chalkboard.
None.
There's
nobody said it.
There's no
son of a gun. If I'm Derek Dietrich, you know what I'm doing? If I'm Big Daddy Double Dinger Dietrich, I'm pimping every nuke I hit.
That's fine. Go for it.
I love the pimping the nukes, by the way. That's
I know
my
you
new
do.
favorite thing.
I know you do. Do we want to get into another baseball thing, or do we? No, we don't. We don't have time because we want to talk about this 13-0 win for the U.S. women's national soccer team in the World Cup.
How about this? So the women's first game was against Thailand. And normally, and in the World Cup, in the pool play, the amount of goals you score is a big deal. You have to.
Yes. The
more goals you score, the higher your seed is. This, that, and the other. The U.S. women's team is by far has been for a lot of years the best of the best in soccer. But when you're up by a certain amount, you think you'd pull back. Not the other night.
No.
The women's team scored 13 goals.
Which is a record for most goals scored in the World Cup. Also the record for largest margin of victory in the World Cup. Alex Morgan, their best player, had 5 goals.
5 goals for Alex Morgan.
it was it was historic for the U.S. Team, and tragically historic
Can I tell you?
Thailand.
So soccer is the most popular sport in the entire world, and the women
outside the U.S.
No, just in the whole world, it is. You can include the U.S. or don't include the U.S. If you take the entire world, it's the most popular sport.
Right.
With or without the U.S., it doesn't matter. It's still the most popular sport. So, with that being said, you would think the U.S., which is, so great at everything athletic-wise, I mean, if you look at Olympics in the past 30 years, we're always on top. Our men are so bad at soccer that it took them 379 days to score 13 goals.
Which is how many games? I don't know how many games
I have no idea how many games, but it's over a year, and it took our women 1 day.
That's incredible. I mean, it was obviously a night that we might not ever see again. But the question, whether, do you pull back? You mentioned that. Don't you think you pull back a little bit?
No, if it comes
for the reason that you first mentioned.
Exactly, because in World Cup pool play, the goals you score puts you in a certain. You could tie. They could tie 0-0 or 2-2, and the goal differential is what places you in the actual tournament of the World Cup.
Yeah.
So in pool play, don't hold back. Score 30 if you can.
Yeah. Yep, I'm with you on that. Obviously, as we were talking about the baseball thing,
it wasn't just 13. Do you know how many goals they gave up?
0.
It was 13-0. I'm sorry, 13-0.
Right, 13-0. Right.
Because you got to say it correctly when you're talking about soccer.
Right. Yep. And they play on a pitch and all that different stuff. I
don't know how you play on a pitch, but whatever.
Yeah. I don't know. That's a word from another country. That's where that originated, I think. But anyway, it was unprecedented, obviously, and it was, there is no sportsmanship thing there. It was, sportsmanship. Can we talk about sportsmanship? We just did for the last 15 minutes. That's exactly what I'm talking about when I talk about the home run stuff.
All right, so let's talk about it in this case. Sportsmanship. In this case, you are talking about where the amount of goals you score places you somewhere. But at the same time, 13-0's run up the score, right?
Yeah.
It is. I mean, it is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you could. I have no idea whether they played their lower.
When you're a professional, and this is the World Cup, or say this is the NFL, or say this is the NBA. I'm okay with running the score up. You're a professional team. I don't believe it's necessarily running the score up at that point. I believe you just can't play.
Well, yeah.
Or figure out a way to compile a team that can take care of business.
There are several ways that you can not run the score up as much as you could, obviously. And most of the time it's subbing your best players out at a certain point in the game.
I think they did.
That's the thing. I don't know, but they don't have to in this case. That's what I'm agreeing with you on that. They don't have to in that case only because of the rules and the way that the seeding works for the tournament, because you have to score as many goals as you can for that specifically. In every other sport, I don't care if it's professional, high school, college, little league, whatever, I think there is a certain level of sportsmanship that goes into, if you are clearly that much better than a team, Somebody said something funny.
No, nobody said anything funny.
Okay.
I'm looking at the stats from this game. Do you know how many shots on goal Thailand had?
I'm going to say like 4.
2.
Oh, wow.
2 shots on goal.
That's bad.
The U.S., 40.
Oh, my gosh. That's outrageous.
Wow.
And so with what I'm saying here is when it's clear that this team is so badly overmatched, this Thailand team or whoever you're talking about in any professional sport, when you're that overmatched and it's clear, there are certain things you can do to promote sportsmanship, which includes taking your best players out, not shooting threes late in the game when you're up 35, stuff like that. You can still play. You put your best.
But that's in a different sense, though. You're talking about basketball, where if you win, you win. A W is a W, whether you win by 1 or you win by 40.
Correct.
In the World Cup, if you win by 13 or you win by 1, that's a big difference.
Exactly. But I'm saying, you said if you're a professional team. There is no running the score up. That I don't necessarily agree with. I think that you can do certain things.
For now on in the NBA, if you're up by 30, then you can't bring your defense out past 3-point line like I was in 4th grade.
Obviously those aren't the rules.
I know they're not the rules. We're not talking about rules. I mean there's no rules saying I can't take a 3 when I'm up by 30.
Right.
But you don't.
But it's sportsmanship.
You don't do it.
Right, because that's sportsmanship.
And even though I joke about it, I do agree. I do agree with that.
Okay.
I do.
All right, so congratulations to the U.S. women's national team.
That's impressive.
Good luck the rest of the way. That's probably the last time we'll talk about them, I'm sure.
And last but not least.
Yes. Last but not least, the Stanley Cup Finals. Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals.
Sir Stanley. So before we get into this, the Blues had a chance in Game 6. The St. Louis Blues, who haven't won a Stanley Cup in God knows how long. I don't know, something crazy because none of us care about the NHL.
I think ever. I thought ever. Was it ever?
Oh, was it ever?
I thought it was
ever.
So
the president or GM or somebody wrote a book, or not a book, wrote a book.
That's quick. That's a quick book.
Wrote a note to the fans talking about thank you, the fact that we've won in 6 games and we won it at home and we're doing this and we're bringing the Stanley Cup and we're going to do a parade through Market Street and had the whole parade route figured out. He wrote a whole letter to the fans of St. Louis.
Wow.
And they lost Game 6. And somebody put this out right after Game 6. Somebody in the St. Louis Blues sabotaged the president / whatever he was, owner, I don't know what he was, sabotaged him and put it out that this guy had wrote this big letter. Now we are in Boston. In Boston for Game 7.
Is there a better city for a Game 7?
There isn't. What's your favorite 2 words in all of professional sports?
Gom 7.
Me too.
I pronounce it Gom.
I pronounce it game, but I also had to go to kindergarten twice, so you're probably right.
If you if you have any sportsmanship about you, you pronounce it Gom. So
well, in that case, Game 7. So,
but in all seriousness,
congratulations to
the St. Louis Blues.
You pulled it off. Not only did they win, but I would consider this a blowout.
In hockey, I think this is kind of a blowout. They ran the score up, obviously. Very poor. I mean, enjoy your Stanley Cup. You're poor sports. You ran the score up 4-1. You could have pulled your guys. You could have pulled your goalie.
You could have been winning 2-1 and pulled your goalie and ended up having a 0-0 or 1-1 or a T or a tie or whatever y'all call it.
If you were decent sports, you would have just given them a free power play.
What is a power play?
Power play is when one of your teammates goes to the penalty box and you are playing shorthanded against.
I'm impressed.
The power play is for
the other team.
The other team that has all their players.
That's awesome. So congratulations, St. Louis Blues. They win the Stanley Cup 4-3. Game 7, 4-1.
I'm so hoping we see the same thing in the NBA, which it reminded me when you said that about that letter that he wrote or that note that he wrote.
Yeah.
It reminded me about the fact that in the last 2 minutes, with like 2 minutes to go, the Toronto Raptors in Game 5 were winning, and it was 2 minutes to go, and it was in Toronto. They brought all the champagne in. They brought the Larry O'Brien trophy in. They covered everybody's lockers with the
how fast
plastic and everything.
How fast you got to be to get in there and immediately rip down the plastic, get everything out? How fast can we get these coolers rolling? I hope they're rolling coolers.
Yeah, I think they are.
Do you think they're as magic a cooler as we had at your brother's bachelor party?
Apparently not.
No, because they lost.
Because there's still beer in that thing. There's still beer coming out of that cooler.
Then that's more magic than what we had. I don't know. I think I still believe that when Joey had his bachelor party, I still believe if I put a Bud Light beer bottle cap inside that cooler, I could get 2 more out.
It's a seed. You planted the seed. It grew a tree.
It worked then. It'll work forever.
If
you want to have a magic cooler, get a hold of the Nosebleed Sports Podcast. We can loan it out to you. And make sure you guys drink for free and as long as you want forever.
And responsibly.
Responsibly is probably the biggest part.
I have to add that part.
Yeah.
So that's it. Stanley Cup, obviously, I keep saying obviously. Stanley Cup named after Stanley Ipkiss from the movie The Mask. Jim Carrey played him. I'm just assuming that that's what the Stanley Cup, or Stanley from The Office, maybe as well.
All great people.
Anyway, that's it. Look, we covered soccer, we covered hockey, we covered
football, we covered basketball, we covered Major League Baseball. We covered it all today. We are as much a sports podcast as you could possibly be.
Next week, we've got a ton on cricket. We've got a lot of water polo to go over.
Is it weird that cricket is like a full circle? Like you can hit the ball behind you, or if you like it's a full circle field. I want to get into cricket. I want to learn how to play cricket. I saw some people playing cricket at Oscamp one time.
Is that so?
It's as weird a sport as I've ever seen.
Huh.
I believe that's where baseball came from.
Probably. Some similarities. I know very, very little about cricket. But
they don't use a glove, I can tell you that, and they make spectacular plays barehanded. It's like a whole lot of Kevin Mitchell's.
Ooh. That's one of the great highlights.
If you don't know what I'm talking about, YouTube, Kevin Mitchell barehanded catch.
Yeah.
Greatest barehanded baseball catch of all time.
Yep.
San Francisco Giants left field.
Second best barehanded catch behind number 1.
Oh, Ozzie Smith. Oh, my gosh. Are you not going to say that?
No.
The greatest ever was Ozzie Smith diving up the middle. Ball takes a bad bounce, and he reaches with his bare hand behind him. Look that up.
That's the
greatest defensive play in the history of Major League Baseball. Next time, after the posters are done, after sports posters, greatest defensive plays in Major League Baseball history.
Okay. All right. We got it. We'll do it.
I'm excited about that.
The one that I was thinking of before you said that was I was at a Reds game one time with a young man, and Reggie Taylor hit a foul ball, and
were you there?
nobody around him.
You were not there.
Nobody around. It was only me and you. You and I were the only ones there. What are you talking about?
Were you there?
It was you and me and like six. The whole thing.
I thought my dad.
Maybe he was. I thought it was just you and me, but he may have been there.
All I know is that I missed. I missed the foul ball. It was. I didn't catch it.
It was. It hit you in the hands, which is the toughest part to hit. If you're trying to catch a ball, I'm just like trying to mess with you hard here.
You got me, man. You got me. I couldn't catch the ball. I missed it, and I don't know if anybody can even hear me because I feel like the microphone's not working. But
it's been
in and out the whole time. All right.
So
at the same time, congratulations to the women's. Oh, there it is. Congratulations to the women's soccer team. Congratulations to the St. Louis Blues. And this time next week, we will have a congratulations to an NBA Finals champion.
Yes, we will.
Until then.
I hope it goes 7 games. Gosh, I hope it goes
7. We all know that because what's our favorite 2 words?
Game 7.
Game 7. Don't return.
No, don't do it. Don't return.
Don't forget to turn your headlights on.